So we just had a remote YCS happening last weekend, and I really wanted to go over the results here because of course I do enjoy competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And I hope you do too. And if you do, please subscribe to this channel for all the latest updates. So a lot of people were caught by surprise with these results. Everyone thought that PK side locking would be the dominant tier 0 kind of crazy deck, and turns out it isn't. Turns out PK is just nowhere to be found. So we already saw the top breakdowns on some other channels. You can see that top breakdown right here somewhere. I'll put it on the screen. As you can see, the Tenyi Brave kind of stuff is doing well, but a lot of decks are doing really well. So beyond maybe the fact that side lock is still a really ridiculous thing to have to deal with, the meta overall seems pretty diverse. So going over actually some deck lists here, shout out to Luxury Gaming TV. Their Instagram actually posted the top 32 lists, or at least most of them, which is crazy. That's why I'm holding right now. That's what you see on the screen. So you can go check them out if you want to see what they're doing. They're a very powerful Yu-Gi-Oh team. We have this top 32 Earth Machine deck actually topping a YCS. That is crazy. We do see they are running the Floodgate, Skill Drain, and so forth. So, you know, they have to decrease the opponent's ceiling in order to compete, but they still topped, so congratulations to you. Next, we have here a Fluanderies deck running Dimension Shifter. Also pretty interesting. I know a lot of people are fans of Fluanderies. Then we have a Sword Soul. Well, not really Sword Soul. This is just the Tenyi Brave stuff together with a Rose package. Also making top 32. Interestingly, running Super Poly in the side. This is something some people were talking about as potentially being good against the side lock decks, especially when paired with another form of disruption. So they have like the Super Poly and the Forbidden Droplets. Next, we have a Virtual World deck, of course, with the side lock and also with Fairy Tail Snow in there, which is interesting. You can dump that with one of your boys in the extra deck, and that way you have access to even more disruption. But of course, Virtual World right now is able to side lock with, I believe, with Beatrice and Baron de Fleur. So that's kind of why they're back in the limelight, I feel. We also saw that at that PPG when they first did that event with the new ban list. Then we have a Dragon Link here doing very well in top 32. Nothing super out of the ordinary in this list. It's just Dragon Link doing Dragon Link things. The one thing we are seeing a lot of is the Ghost Bell in some people's side decks. Ghost Bell is, I guess, very good against side lock as well if you can target your own DPE, but that's not what I'm seeing in this particular deck because he doesn't have his own DPE. So I guess they're using it to like get rid of Hulk from opposing Tenyi players. We also see Token Collector in the side, so maybe that's something that they were very afraid of. Next we have Prankits, of course, doing well. That was one of the top contenders in this format. We have the Brave stuff together with Prankits, together with DPE, just smashing all the good engines together, and they also have the ability to play a shit ton of hand traps because all they need is one normal summon and they're off to the race. Then we have another Prankits, once again with a bunch of hand traps, and interestingly main decking Magician Souls and Illusion of Chaos. That engine is just so good together with the Adventurer engine, it's actually insane. Then we have another Virtual World, this time playing with Destrudo in the main as well as the Magician Soul engine once again. This list is really out there. I actually really like this. You have like Deskbot, Destrudo, Brave, Magician Soul, Virtual World, just all in a pile basically. Then we have the one PK top 16 right here. I don't think there were that many PKs from what I saw on the chart. That's crazy. This is just a typical PK list. I'm not really seeing anything out of the ordinary. Then we had Drytron actually creeping back in, and this is really interesting to me because when I went to my regional last weekend, I faced two Drytrons and people were like, oh, Drytron is dead now. Drytron is now so bad, blah blah. But no, Drytron is actually still a really good deck. And so after that regionals, I was like, wow, I'm actually afraid of Drytrons. No one else seemed to be talking about it. And now we see them actually doing really well at the YCS still. So Drytron is still a really solid deck. This list is also really wild. It has 50 cards. I'd say the main reason Drytron is still so incredible is also because it can side lock. So that is always a really good thing to be able to do. Then we have once again another Prankits. This time once again with the DPE and the Brave package. We have another Prankits right here. This one playing 49 cards with the Crossout Designator in the main board. I think we're starting to see something really interesting this format, and that is that so many decks are running so many bricks now just to play certain super unfair engines like Brave, like DPE, and so forth. They're ramming them all into the same lists, and for this reason, they are starting to play more than 40 cards. I'm seeing so many decks going to 45 to 50 cards, whereas for a long time, everyone was like, no, I only play 40, I only play 40, I only play 40, I always play 40. When it's like, not necessarily. If you're playing a bunch of bricks, and all of your starters or extenders have similar value anyway, then it's pretty good to dilute those bricks into a pool of more starters and extenders. So it's much better to play 50 cards with 5 bricks than 40 cards with 5 bricks if you have plenty of ways to get to your place anyway. And we are seeing that in this YCS. All of these lists seem to be 50, 49, 48. And again, we see the same thing with these prank kits, which is weird because prank kits actually isn't that bricky of a deck. Though I suppose when you're running this many hand traps and crossouts and called buys and brave token and so forth, maybe that's different. Still really interesting. Next, we have another Drytron. Once again, Drytron is still a really scary deck. This one also playing Red Eyes Fusion in there, so not opting for the DPE. Then we have top 32 Mech Knights. I did not expect that at all. That is just crazy. Also really cool to see. Then we have a Tenyi Sword Soul deck, also top 32. Nothing super out of the ordinary in this list. Then we have another Prank Kits. Yes, Prank Kits is the name of the game. Once again, 45 cards. We have a top 8 DDD. Now this was the talk of the weekend. We saw Pack taking DDD, a very complex and very, you know, rogue lovery deck, let's say, taking it all the way to top 8, so congratulations, Pack. I know almost nothing about DDD, so I'm not gonna comment on whether this list is good or spicy or anything, because I literally do not know. But I'm assuming Pack has a video about this by now, so be sure to check that out. Next, we have a 60 card top 32 Brave Dragon Link DPE deck. Yeah, that's a mouthful. So we see the Dragon Link stuff, we see the Rose package, we see the DPE package, Fairy Tail Snow, Brave, a bunch of hand traps. This thing is just running everything. Also, interestingly, we are seeing Crossout in the side and the side. Now, I'm assuming this person isn't side locking, but rather is using the side to have Crossout as another way to stop the side lock from happening when people are only doing the singular side rather than the double side. Next, we have an Eldritch. Yes, the lone Eldritch right here. We see 2 Lava Golem, 2 Heavenly Prison, 2 Eldritch the Golden Lord. Beyond that, nothing too surprising here. We also see the Dragoon package, and in the side we see the 3 Red Eyes Fusion and Dark Magician and Red Eyes. Then we have another Phantom Knights. Once again, nothing too out of the ordinary here. We are seeing the main decked Lancia as well as 2 main decked Cosmic Cyclone. Then we have the winner of the event running the Based deck. Based is actually just a Tenyi pile. Well, they only run 3 Tenyis or so, so it's not really a Tenyi pile. It's just a pile. We see the side lock, we see a bunch of hand traps, we see Deskbot, we see Fairy Tail Snow, we see a Punk Engine, we see the Magician Soul, Mare, the Rose Dragons, Tenyi, Brave of course, DPE of course, Small World. This is a really big brain deck. Next we had another 60 card pile, this time a Brave Eldritch DPE, and they're playing Dotscaper and Cyber's Gadget. This is a very out there list, I am loving it. Also a very minimal Eldritch engine in here. We just see the 3 Cursed Eldland, 3 Scarlet Sanguine, only 1 Golden Lord, 3 Conch, and 2 Huaquero. But once again, I'm just a big fan of pile decks, even though this is a trap version. Then we have another Drytron, this time with Plasma over Dasher for their DPE engine. I wonder if this is like a choice because they go into Plasma sometimes, or if they just didn't have a Dasher. Then we had another 60 card pile, this time a Brave Dragon Link DPE. We see a lot of really cool choices in here. We see our Destrudo, we see our Fairy Tail Snow, we see the Rose Dragon package. Once again, really cool to see. And then finally we have another Prank Kits, this time 43 cards, again instead of the typical 40 or 41 we see usually. So those were all the decks that Luxury Gaming shared here. Again, shout out to them. Hope you found this interesting. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.